2, 3 3/8 bolts right across here. Bing, bang, bang. And kind of put it mid-flight. Gravity really takes a toll on stuff. She's like, what are you doing, Dad? Let me run this grinder for you? Let me move that for you? What is it? She said, I'll fix it, Daddy. Alrighty guys, welcome, and girls, welcome back to Dale's Off-Roading. So this is something I've learned messing with the this here's the 8.25 Chrysler out of a XJ. This one is the 27 spline version. Do you have the 27 spline, 29 spline? I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure 96 was right there, right in that area. It was a year change. This is like a 94 model. So this would be the 27 spline version. But you can just swap spider gears out and you can go to 29 spline or whatever. But I already had this one out and I wanted to show y'all this because what I found here I think is pretty neat. After abusing on them real hard, or running the Jeep, and once you take a Cherokee and kind of put it mid-flight, gravity really takes a toll on stuff. And you'll start taking these tubes and bowing them up, or busting these like the casting right here, or it's got all them XJ's got all that horsepower on them. You get up there and you neutral drop, first click, second hang on, boys, come on back. You know what I mean? It'll take it and bust these welds out of here and spin them up. And then also for y'all guys, so this rear end here, we're gonna take it and it's gonna be, we're building Steven, white Jeep y'all seen in the race video, Steven. We're building him a ZJ. It's gonna be his new race Jeep. His other one's kind of throw together Jeep, and he didn't really know much about him, so he's learned a lot. We've all learned a lot, so we're gonna build him a new Jeep. And this rear end is gonna be for his. So this one's gonna be a 4-link rear end. But theoretically, if you wanted to, you could do this same setup, the same thing I'm about to build here, but don't cut your purchase off, and you can still run a leaf spring, and then you could use this truss for a wrap bar. Spit the shaft out of it. But so like on my white Jeep, I guess all my Jeeps are white. On my old race Jeep, it has the wrap bar that comes up right here. Well, if you look at that axle real close, we've had to weld it up, but that axle's bent from stuffing the wrap bar into the body and bend it in. So that axle's bent. My new race Jeep, after the first race, if you remember seeing it, it spun, I don't really know, it bent the truss or something, and it rolled it forward in it. And I had a piece of metal, which you'll see better here in a minute when I start putting these puzzle pieces on. I've kind of cut them all out already. But so it bent that, and then that's whenever I came up with this plate on the back. And I think it's, in my mind, because if you've ever tried or if you know anything about trying to weld to cast, it's not fun. It's a 50-50 shot. It don't like holding. So doing it this way, you're utilizing bolts. So pretty much, I pulled this rear end out, I've gutted the axle and stuff off. We'll end up disc brake swapping this rear end. I'm not trying to focus on building a whole rear end. I'm not trying to, show y'all how to build a whole 8 1/4 today. I ain't gonna be like, oh, this is, complete, finished, done. I'm focusing on just the design of this. I came up with for keeping the tubes from bending up, keeping the center section from rolling up, stuff like that. So we're focusing on from here in today. That's all we're focusing on. We ain't worried about none of that. But I got it in here, cut the purchase off of it, and I've cut this stuff up. You can see, I'll get the camera and show you a little closer here in a minute. One thing you can see is this plate here. So the way I've done this plate, matter of fact, let me grab this cover here and I'll grab y'all. Alrighty, so I picked y'all up. It's like something. All right, anyway, so I got the cover off here. So this is what I done on my race Jeep. So I'll take it and pull that cover off, and I'll take this cover and I'll slap it down on a piece of metal. Like that right there. And I trace all the holes. I've already drilled all the holes in it. So I drill the holes in it. Now on the top, we'll leave this tall piece sticking out here. What that's gonna do, and you'll see it in a minute, I'm just giving you a great overview. So then, get all your holes blowed. So obviously we're gonna cut, you can see, hard to see that big ledge down here? We'll end up cutting that off flat. So that's why the bottom of this right here is flat compared to, or way shorter than this one. But I'll flip that up later and shave the bottom of that off. So take that, then I go in here and I don't even mark. We took a Sharpie and rough marked it. We just go in here and kind of go where we know, and we'll trim. We'll set it up there, check it, trim, check it, or get it to sit flush against here. So theoretically, pretty much all we've made is a spacer between our cover and our rear end. We've made, I couldn't tell you how thick this is. It's probably ½ inch thick. So what that'll end up doing is then when we go over here, get our center mark lined up here. And so I got lucky on this one. I ended up I made all this last night, and Steven come by today and we had to do some welding on a transmission case and stuff. And I got him to use a torch to cut this out for me. And I just kind of rough marked it and got us a rough design up. Well, top of my truss I cut out last night and the plate are the same exact width, so it worked out perfect. But what'll happen here, and so you see that truss, it'll sit just like that. All it is a piece of the same way my race Jeep. This rear end is identical to my race Jeep rear end. So you can see that it's a piece of angle that sits up there, and it'll have these pieces of angle here. And that's just a rough mock-up. But that's the truss. I'll end up going in here and filling up that triangle with a piece of plate to stouten it up. So then this plate, let me set y'all down for 1 second, and I'll so I can use 2 hands because this plate ain't the lightest. Alright, I'm back. So we take this plate here, and that plate bolt on just like that. And then obviously this will bolt here. Now I know you say, alright, this ain't got much meat, especially if we trim the bottom of it, or if that plate ain't flat, it's gonna leak. I agree with you, it will leak. Way I do mine, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not telling you to hold up forever. I'm not telling you if you daily job it, I'm definitely not telling you to do this. But if all you do is four-wheel your Jeep, way I do mine, I do this to the front end, I do this to the rear end, and the transfer case. I go to Advance or O'Reilly's or wherever, and I buy 3 of the cheapest tubes of grease you can buy. And I put one in the front end, one in the rear end, one in the transfer case. My race Jeep, that's what I've done to it. And then I'll take 85 140 gear oil and I'll pump whatever, hang on. So I'll take 85 140 and I'll pump in my rear end. I had to pull the cover off whenever I made this plate for my race Jeep, I had to pull that cover off, and the 85 140 is done mixed with the gear oil, and it was nice and thick. Everything was lubed. None of it leaked out. So I was very happy with that. All right, now back up. I know I just said I put it in my transfer case. My transfer case is gutted. It has nothing in it that don't need to be in it. It is welded in low lock, and it is welded in four-wheel drive. You cannot shift it. It's a straight drive case technically. So only thing I need is something to keep the bearings a little lubed and the chain lubed. So if you're still running a factory transfer case, the pump probably won't pump the grease. I don't know if it'll work, but it's the way I do mine. But mine's gutted. So do with that what you will. But yeah, so we got that up there. You can see about perfect there. We'll end up cutting this plate off flush with the top of this. On my race Jeep, I have 2, 3 3/8 bolts right across here. Bing, bang, bang. I think this one we're gonna try different. We're gonna try to weld it, take the play out of it, but we'll put a spacer in here, whatever thickness we need. We'll weld it up, and then we'll make it. I mean, even if we do like a 2-inch, 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 you know, stitch weld it. Take a cutoff wheel, and if you ever got to pull this off, you can take it and just cut it and come off, put it back up here, weld it back. So I'm gonna throw you on time lapse, get some of this, get the truss tacked together before I show you the stuff that goes around the front here. And when I get all that tacked together, I'll pick you back up, and that way I've explained a little bit of the picture. I'm gonna show you that picture, and then that way we can work together in steps. So all right, and first time we use time lapse on the DJI, so hope she works good. Alrighty, so we got the truss on her here. Let me see. I should get out of my way. She's like, "What are you doing, Dad? Let me run this grinder for you? Let me move that for you?" What is it? She said, "I'll fix it, Daddy." Come on, Icy, move. Come on, get over the other way. Alright. Slight delay, but we got the truss on. You can see. So I was gonna show you earlier, and I didn't want to add too much. So then I bend this bar, and there's a groove right here it falls in. Run it there, somewhere out there. I just kind of bend the angle, and wherever she kind of falls. As long as you stay, I shoot for right there inside where the old perches were. So then we still got room for link tabs and stuff out there. And then on this one, which I ain't got it tacked in there. Mine ain't got this, but on this one I'm putting it. We're gonna do them the gusset there, gusset here, this gusset here, right in that area, and then another gusset there. And then on mine I use thinner stuff. On this one I use all 1/4 inch, and then this gusset here. And then right here, if you look, there's 2 bosses on this axle. One there and there. I take it and just tap a 3/8 bolt in it, and I'll weld it in bolts. We'll still weld to the cast and all that, but that's just added security. This will weld in here, weld all that. And then, you can see here, I cut her down. Then we bring this over here. This right there. So then you see, then we bolt this right here. On mine I run bolts, but which I done it in a rush. On this one I'm going to order studs, so we have studs, so we can get them as much thread engagement as possible, and then tighten the nut up. But yeah, it's going to turn out pretty good. We'll end up putting a spacer, something in here to space this, and we'll weld this together. And you can always take it, we'll weld it hard to one side, and just like I was saying, stitch weld it to this side probably, or stitch weld it to one of the sides. So then you just come through here, and if you need to pull this off, we'll just cut them stitch welds. But I mean, if you need to do any work on a trailer or anything, other than the only time you'll have to pull that off is if you have to pull the whole carrier out. And I mean, you could trim it up, you know, do a little better trim job than we've done here, and make it where you can get this in and out, but we ain't that worried about it. Hopefully, alright guys, you can see me, but this is the best way I found. Well, not I ain't gonna say the best way. There's probably another better way, but this is the way I've come up with. Mine was already built like this without this plate back here. And that's what, mine's only, I think it's got 3/16 right here. It may only have 8, I'm not for sure. But it's a little smaller, and that's what, I bowed this up and it pulled the truss forward. So obviously it bent the truss somewhere. And I didn't cut this out or nothing. I built this plate, put it on here, and in mine it has a 3/8 bolt here, one here, one here, and one here. So that's 3 of them. And I just slowly tighten them all up, and when I pull it pressure on, I take a hammer and whoop down because it bowed, you know, it kind of put a lump in this, made it pop up, and I take a hammer and whoop it, and I got this tight and it pulled this back flat. So now it's trying to, when you're going through there spinning the wheels forward, it's trying to drive this pinion up. Let me think about it here. Yeah, trying to drive the pinion up. You got this tied to this, tied to this, tied to that, and then on this one will have a spacer, so this can't go backwards because it's hitting this. It can't go forward because it's holding it, pulling against that, also pushing against that. The tubes can't really, I'm not gonna say they can't, but they won't be able to bend up because it's got to bend both of these, bend this, bow this, it'll have to bow it here and here, and which we might end up, after we weld that, put another gusset right here under this part here. Can't bow it up that way, up or down, because it's got to suck the truss down, bend it up, and it's all tied to best way I know, this plate's the best way I know to tie it to the third member itself, talking I guess 12 terms or whatever, but to the chunk itself without welding to it, without having to do your preheat and all that crap and knowing you got a good weld. This way you're bolted, you got 9 bolts bolting that on, that ain't gonna move, welded, and it's solid. I mean, but yeah, this is pretty much it. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tack in these, I'm gonna end up tacking in the gussets and all that. We'll do the ZJ, we'll do the disc brake swap on it. If we run 27 splines, we'll slide axles back in. If he wants to go 29 spline, we'll have to change carrier because this is a 27 spline axle. And I think the 29s are a little tougher than the 27s. Potato, whoever you ask, what day of the week. Depends on if they say it or not. But yeah, these axles are a great axle for the Cherokee. And don't let this video scare you. I mean, they're tough stock. But this right here, if you're gonna really just get after it, this solves a bunch of issues. Little issues that could create major ones. Like I'm sure y'all seen Dex's video and stuff where the last race we had at AOP where he cracked his and it was separating the housing. Like it was, I think it busted it way over here. Like it busted it bad. But I believe this here is the way to do it. It's pretty much a girdle for the rear end. That's what we're gonna call it. 8 1/4 girdle. Figuring out the thumbnail name right now. Bingo. Yeah, so, but speaking of that, of this rear end, now that y'all know we're building the rear end, we're building it for Steven's new race Jeep. So we're gonna build something we ain't never built on this channel. Something we don't see many of in the race Jeep. We're gonna pretty much, I don't know if we're gonna go as far as my new race Jeep, but it's gonna be pretty close. ZJ. It'll be 4.0 AW4, 231, 8 1/4 rear, high pinion 30 front. It'll be the same thing we run, and there's his old Jeep. Pretty much same setup as that, but we're gonna try the ZJ body out. That way, and we're gonna run the factory. We're gonna run the factory 4-link in the rear, and I think it'll work out pretty good. There's our new toy we got the other day. Got a rollback. We went and picked that up yesterday. That's gonna be pretty handy. So, I know this video's it might have been a little I don't know, but I figured I made that girdle on the race Jeep the other day, and I thought it was really cool how it turned out. So I was hoping y'all would think the same. And even if y'all don't think so, oh well, I think it's cool, so that's all that matters. But I just want to show y'all how cool I thought it was. So, yeah. But I'm gonna go in here and tack these gussets and stuff up, and then find something else around here, piece of junk to work on. We got plenty of it sitting around. Bunch of waiting on parts is what we're mainly doing, and that's past few days have been rough waiting on parts. But hey, you got those times. Got the shop kind of tied up, and that's all I could really get in there this week was that rear end. But we needed to have it done, and hopefully y'all think it's as neat as I do. So with that being said, thank y'all for watching. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch y'all next week.